what's going on, guys? Midnight Sun 518 here. We are back with some Tacoma maintenance. This is going to be interesting. I've never done this one before, and it's definitely going to be a little bit more on the potentially damaging side of things. I am going to do a drain and fill on my transmission fluid. I'm not going to do a full flush. One, I don't really know how to do that, but also apparently it's really bad for your transmission. From what I have read about online, when you do a complete flush of your transmission fluid, the computer in the truck doesn't really know the viscosity of the fluid, because over time your transmission fluid gets worn out. You know, it starts to break down. It becomes, I guess, a little bit more viscous, and so your transmission learns how to shift effectively during, you know, with that type of fluid that's in it. But when you put brand new fluid in it, now you're going from, you know, something that has a lot more resistance to all of a sudden it's like water to the transmission, and so it starts slamming gears and it breaks things. So doing a drain and fill is the recommendation, because you're not completely removing all of the old transmission fluid. You're removing just a little bit of it, just what's in the drain pan, and then putting in some fresh fluid, running the truck, driving it for 10,000 miles, and then doing another one, and doing either 2 or even 3 of those to completely flush out the system is better for your truck, and it gives it time to adapt to the new fluid. But shouldn't really be crazy hard. Step 1 is to get your truck jacked up off the ground, unless you have a lift, which I don't yet. Incoming, by the way, hopefully soon. But yeah, so you get your truck jacked up so that you can get a little bit more room underneath it, and then we're gonna go ahead and take off our transmission skid plate. I'm not gonna show you that. I have the C4 Fabrications one. It's 8 bolts. Really nothing crazy. So if you guys are curious on how to install one of those, check out the video in the playlist that this one's in, so that you can see the installation process for that. But I'm not gonna show it to you. So I'm gonna get the skid plate off, and then we're gonna keep rolling. Well, the next step is to go to Lowe's to make sure you have the right socket, because though I do have a 24mm socket, I did not have like the shallow one. I only have deep sockets. So now I have one of these, and I can show you where this drain plug or the fill plug is. So if you follow me under here, if we look out the front of the car, that is the passenger tire. That is the driver's tire. Here is the transmission oil pan or fluid pan, whatever you call it. And so if we go on the passenger side, you'll see this green like connection cable thing right here. This is for your passenger side O2 sensor. So if you follow that cable up the side, there'll be a little plug there, and just to the left of the plug is our 24mm fill port. I'll put the socket on there so that y'all can see it. Right there. So that is where the fill is for our transmission, which is in a really crap spot. So I have some other tools to help us when we're going through the actual filling portion. But we're gonna go ahead and crack torque or break torque on that, make sure that we have the ability to refill our transmission after we drain it. And then I'm gonna break torque on the overflow, which is this little 5mm hex right here. And then I'm gonna break torque on the drain, which is I wanna say a 12. It might be a 14. So this little get up I got just because, well, it's really meant for like quart-sized like diff fluid bottles and gear oil bottles, I guess. I was hoping that it would fit the neck of the ATF bottle, but it doesn't. But it's fine. It's just a little pump, so it's got a thing that sticks down. Oh, that's what ATF looks like, by the way. It's pretty and very pink. And then the end of this tube we'll be able to put into the fill side. I have it in a box just so I don't spill it everywhere, because the cap isn't on there very good. Well, it's not on there at all. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead and drain the transmission and let it sit for, I don't know, probably about 45 minutes to an hour, with the drain open and then the fill cracked. So I'm not gonna take the fill completely off, but it's cracked so that airflow and stuff can get in there. Yeah, and then we're just gonna give it a little bit to drain, and then we'll keep going. Fun fact, new ATF kind of smells like you got something cooking in the kitchen. Smells good. Oh boy. Heck yeah. So after you've given ample time for your thing to stop draining, and you had to run back, the fuck? Anyways, and you run back to an auto parts store because the crush washer kit that you bought didn't come with the correct crush washer for your drain plug. So then you do that, because I did that. So the kit that I bought, which is that one right there, is just a whole bunch of random Toyota crush washers or something. It's supposed to be all-inclusive for the car. I don't know. Anyways, they didn't have this tiny little aluminum crush washer. So I went to AutoZone, not AutoZone, well I did go there and they didn't have them, but I went to Advanced Auto Parts and I found these copper crush washers. Now, this isn't the same thing, but I don't think it's gonna be too big of a deal because copper is softer and so it should make an even better seating surface than before. At least that's the thought. I think it'll be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the the drain plug reinstalled. So I am gonna tighten down my drain plug, but I'm not gonna tighten down the overflow. I'm gonna leave that one nice and loose. I'm gonna replace the crush washer on it though, I think for now. And then we're gonna start filling and see how much we have. So that is how much ATF we got out of the transmission. And that would appear to be about 2 quarts, which is way less than I was expecting. So I don't know what that's all about. But here is the color of, sorry, my bag is leaking. The color of the old ATF. And it doesn't smell too bad, but it definitely doesn't smell great. So I did get 2 full quarts, a little bit over 2 quarts, so I'm going to put in about a half a quart more than what I got out. Now something else you want to make sure that you're checking is the O-ring for the fill port, because it can get damaged over time. Mine looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the fill and then tighten it down. I'm not going to torque it because I don't know the torque spec. I got to Google that, but I'm going to get it nice and hand tight with the wrench. So the next step is where things get real exciting. So I need to get myself a wire so that we can cycle the truck into temperature check mode, which basically all that does is allows the truck to give me a physical indication of when the transmission is up to temperature, rather than having to have some sort of a sensor plugged in. Whoop. Which, surprisingly enough, I did just receive it. I have another install coming in the future for y'all, and it's just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek thought about it. It's a scan gauge, so that I can monitor things like transmission temperature. Anyways, so you get yourself a little wire, and we're gonna go ahead and strip each end. I mean, if you have anything conductive, honestly, probably work. But the wire is easiest because you're gonna have to bend it between a couple of the ports on the OBD2. So, obviously my truck is up on jacks, and you never want to start the truck when it's up on jacks. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna pull the truck off the jacks, and then we're gonna go ahead and do this. So we're gonna go ahead and start the truck and actually start it. And then with our foot on the brake, hold up. We're gonna cycle through each of the modes a couple of times just to kind of like mix the transmission fluid that's in there. Just to mix the fluid that's in there. And we're gonna give it a sec, oh my God. We're gonna give it a second in each gear, just to make sure that the transmission actually gets into each gear. Do this a couple of times. So now we get to come in here, and I know y'all can't see it. You can see the OBD2 port right here, and we're gonna be connecting the 4th and 13th pin. So that's the 4th from the left on the top and the 5th from the left on the bottom together using our handy dandy little wire. And then the dashboard's gonna freak out, and then we're gonna do some stuff. And it's very scary. All right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep. And there's the dashboard doing weird things and freaking out like a Christmas tree. Okay. So now we're gonna cycle between neutral and drive until our little gear symbol disappears. So foot firmly on the brake, neutral, drive. Turns out I was cycling way too slowly. You want to go neutral, drive, neutral, drive, neutral, drive, and then eventually when you go to neutral, the gear indicator will disappear. So now we can go back to park, and we're going to sit here until the indicator comes back on, which means that we are at temp. We can then also, I'm going to reach down here, pull out my wires, so we no longer need to have those shorted together, and you could save it for a souvenir for later, so when you tell your wife that you did car maintenance and stuff. Anyways, so I'm going to hang out. The drive indicator should pop back on once the transmission is up to temperature, and then we're going to go crack that overflow drain, the 5mm hex, right? Make sure your bucket's down there, obviously, and then that's pretty much it. Allegedly, this process takes about 10 minutes, so I'm just going to hang out in the truck watching YouTube until then, and then we'll drain it. I'm also going to set myself up for success here since I'm filming and doing this at the same time. If the drive indicator starts blinking, that means that it got too hot. Not that it's overheated, just that it's too hot for what you want for the correct amount of trans fluid in the transmission. Anyways, so if it starts blinking, turn the truck off, let it cool, and just repeat the process we just did. But whenever it comes on solid, you're going to crawl underneath and you're going to open the overflow. Like I said, it's that 5mm hex. However, once that you have like a light trickle coming out, you don't want it to be completely done flowing, basically, because it's still sloshing around in there because the transmission's rotating, even in park. Yeah, so once you have a nice slow trickle is when you're going to be putting it back on, or putting that overflow plug back in. And you want to make sure that you're doing this while the engine is running, not while the car is off. So be careful not to burn yourself. The exhaust is going to be really hot, but totally doable. Honestly, that only took about 5 minutes, which is pretty crazy because I was expecting 10. But there you go. Let's go ahead and get that drained, or overflow drained. Sweet, now that the truck is off, I'm gonna go ahead and raise it back up because I gotta put my skid plate back on. But we're gonna torque the 3 dang plugs that we just pulled out. So the fill is gonna be set to 29 foot-pounds. I can't really read that on here, so I'm just putting it at just below 30. And then it's 15, and then it's 15 for both the the drain and the overflow. The fill is 29 foot-pounds, and it's 15 foot-pounds for the drain and the overflow. I don't have a 5mm bit for the thing, so I'm just gonna hand tight that. I think it's fine. I can definitely do more than 15 foot-pounds, so I'll go not super hard. But yeah, 29 for the other. Well, there you have it, guys. That's how you do a transmission fluid flush on a 2017, well, really a 3rd generation Toyota Tacoma. It was a process. It did take me a few hours. It really should only take you about 45 minutes if you have all the right tools to begin with, but I had to make a couple of runs, as you heard, to the different stores. Anyways, it feels so much better. I am at 78,000 miles in the truck. It recommends that you check your transmission fluid after 60. Yeah, recommends that you check your transmission fluid after 60. And I didn't do that. Anyways, so 78K, I did a drain and fill, and I'll do another one the next time I do an oil change on the truck. So right around 5,000 miles from now. And then I'm gonna do a third one just to be safe, another 5,000 from then probably. Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, drop a like and a subscribe. I don't know why I said necessarily enjoyed, but either way, if you found something useful, please like and subscribe. Got a goal of 500 subscribers by the end of 2024, and I think it's super attainable. Anyways, see you guys next time. Midnight sign out.